Were you expecting the music? Were you expecting a bright and cheery and enthusiastic introduction? No, that's not what today is. If you're looking for motivation, you should probably stop listening. If you're not feeling motivated and you want to feel inspired and go out there, you should stop listening. What this is going to be about is a young man who made one fatal error, and that error led down to a spiral. One mistake, and everything just went sideways. This is the story of how I lost my mind for about a month. Like, I was gone. Daniel was here physically, but mentally he was gone. I didn't know where he went. I didn't know when he was coming back. I had no idea what was going on. The only thing I knew was whoever this person was the exact opposite. If Daniel was a people person, this person was not a people person. If he was positive, this guy was negative. He was the exact opposite. And it sucked. It was not a fun place, man. It was easily, this last month, the month of November, was one of the most stressful months in the last couple of years for me. The guy who would wake up at 6 in the morning, wake up, go out for a run, come back, take a shower, do a podcast, finish homework, was the same guy who would stay in bed until 11, sometimes noon, and he didn't want to get out of bed. And he'd look up at the ceiling for 30 to 40 minutes so he can delay getting out of bed, talking about all the reasons he doesn't want to. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to interact with anyone. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to change clothes. I didn't want to take a shower. I didn't want to exercise. Nothing. So I would literally lie in bed at 11:30 a.m. thinking, I don't want to get out of bed today. And you start wondering, whoa, Daniel, how can that happen? How can this be? How can you be the same guy who wakes up at 6 a.m., comes out here, preaches positivity and going out there and kindness, and on the other hand, be this person who had no patience for talking to people, only saw the negative things, and did not want to get out of bed? Because the moment I got out of bed, that means I have to accept the responsibilities and look at what I have to do. I didn't want you to see that part of me, partly because I didn't enjoy seeing that part of me. I looked in the mirror and it was like I wasn't that guy. And partly because I knew if I came on here in the midst of it, it was just going to be emotional. F this, F that, F you, F me. But I'm a big believer in logic, and I like logic and rational thought. So the story is, how do you get the guy who's so positive and always sees a bright side to turn into the guy who doesn't want to talk to anyone, doesn't want to exercise, doesn't want to eat well, doesn't want to leave his bed, and just stops caring? In order to understand this, we got to go a few years back. It was about 7 years ago. I was 13 years old. 13 years old. I made the decision that I would start working out. And at first, it was every single day. Now, workout for you and me might mean different things. I rarely ever went to the gym. Rarely. Every night or every morning, I don't remember now, but it was push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. It started with 10. 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 squats. That's a good bit for a 13-year-old. Over the years, that turned into 20, 30, 50. Eventually, man, I got to like 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, 50 push-ups. That's not to say, well, look at me, but that's to say, I had gotten well with consistency. It was every day, man. I swear on my life, every day for a good 2.5 years, every single day. And then eventually, we started burning it down because I was introducing other things into my life and other hobbies and whatnot. Every day, man, became 4 days a week. Every day became 3 days a week. Now, over the last 2 or 3 years or so, I try to keep it between one to 3 times a week. 3 times is excellent, once is whatever. What I can tell you is this. Exercising keeps my head on my shoulders. It keeps the stress low. It allows me to see the positive in life. And when things happen, when you fail tests, when something doesn't go your way, it doesn't hurt as much. I made a huge mistake, and I turned my back on what brought me to the dance. Have you heard the saying, don't forget what brought you to the dance? One of the reasons I am who I am, and I move the way I do, and I think the way I do, I've been able to make this podcast and do as well as I have is because of exercise. And late October of this year, I made the decision to stop exercising. The reason was this. I'm getting really focused on my studies. I want to do well. I want to increase the GPA. And I said, what I would used to do is I would do, let's say, an hour of homework, hour and a half of homework, go out for a run or push-ups, sit-ups, do some sort of exercise, take a shower, eat food, come back, and then resume homework. I made the decision and I said, you know what, man, I'm going to put working out to the side because it takes time. get dressed, go out there, go for a run, come back, take a shower, eat food. I'd rather just keep working because that's how much of a hard worker I am. That backfired hugely. And one thing led to another, man. And by the time I knew it, I was trapped. There's just too many things going wrong at the same time that you don't know which one to deal with. So you just drop it and you say, I'm done. I'm not going to deal with any of this. You can't make me. So what had happened was, as I'm sitting there, I'm not taking those workout breaks. Now, mind you might say, well, Daniel, I don't work out. I don't know what you're talking about. Dude, this isn't about you working out and not working out. This is about you doing something over and over again. For me, it was exercise. There's a plethora of studies out there that show that exercising, running, your brain secretes certain hormones. And these hormones, they do things to you, man. They change your mood, right? And what had happened was, your brain, for example, let's say, you work out, right? Serotonin gets released. Serotonin is associated with good mood. The higher your serotonin, the better the mood you are. The better the mood you have, the less grumpy and grouchy you are. Grouchy you are, right? As well as helping you alleviate stress. So when I took working out, it was like my mind had adjusted to it. It adjusted to those hormones. And a couple days went by, 1 week went by, 2 weeks. After the third week, man, it was like there was something missing. I felt myself getting tense. I felt like, I don't want to compare this to drugs because I don't want to compare it to like a drug or cigarettes or whatever. But imagine you drink a cup of coffee every day for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. All of a sudden you stop. Your brain is used to the secretion of those specific hormones. And when it doesn't happen, your brain's like, yo, what the hell? What's happening? My friends, never in my life had I been so aggressive, so pissed off, so frustrated, so angry. I wanted to take someone's head off. I was confused, I was angry, I was upset, I was stressed, I was mad. I felt guilty, I felt ashamed, I felt embarrassed. And all I could tell you was this. Literally, the guy who comes on here and preaches positivity, I would wake up in the mornings pissed off. I would wake up angry. Like I was mad. And I didn't even know what I was mad about. That's the thing that drove me nuts. I'm such a logical and rational guy. I couldn't figure out why I was so mad. Like I would wake up wanting to start an argument. The same guy would look out the window and see it raining, like, oh, that's beautiful, man. It sounds peaceful. Say, oh, that's garbage weather. I was looking to start arguments with people. God bless my family, man. I put earbuds in for a long time because I said, I don't want to talk to anyone. Because I said, if I talk to you, I might say something that I'm going to regret. Not even my words, but my tone of voice. I have no right to disrespect you in that manner, but right now, mentally, I'm just not here right now. So I'm going to put these earbuds in, you pretend you don't see me. I swear, I was like, I'm not here. I am not here. Do not talk to me because I'm worried of what I'll say. That was my mood. And it's not that I haven't been angry before. Some people are like, Daniel, how are you happy all the time? Man, to break that down, my friends, this was a long time. We're talking over 30 days of waking up and just anger. I was so angry all the time. I was angry at everybody. I would find things to piss me off. I was having crackers and cream cheese once. I put the cream cheese on the cracker, and the cracker broke in half. Do you know what my first thought was? I want to find whoever makes these crackers, drag them out in front of their house, put my arms around their throat, and question why they make such garbage crackers. Now, my friends, it doesn't take a genius to know that when you want to strangle someone over a cracker, we've got problems here. Something's not right here. I said, Daniel, it's not the world, it's not the cracker manufacturer, it's you, man. I was saying things I never thought I'd say. I was thinking things I never thought I'd say. Someone would, man, like, I would get a bad grade, right? And Daniel, pre-losing his mind, would be like, you know what, man? Oh, that sucks. I'll try again next time. It is what it is. This Daniel would just lose his mind. I was thinking, man, if I ever see you, I'll do this. Oh, yeah, I'll punch you in the face. I was like, what am I saying right now? I've just thought the most cruelest things, my friends. So much violence. I just thought of violence. I can't wait to do this. Oh, you think you're better? Blah, blah, blah. Someone needs to stay. My own thoughts scared me a little bit. I was like, whoa. How can a person generate so much hate? In high school, I swear to God, ask my close friends. They'd be like, oh man, I hate this teacher. Don't you? And I'd be like, hey man, hate is a strong word. I don't hate anybody. I might dislike you. I might dislike your teaching style, but I don't hate you. Why? Because hating takes energy. And why not put that energy into something else? That's exactly what had happened. I was so hateful. like anything you could think of. I stayed off social media for the last 2-3 weeks. If you check my IG story, I rarely update it because the moment I would go on social media, all I saw was negative. It didn't matter. I used to tell people, I was like, hey man, one positive of social media is if you follow these motivational accounts, if you follow these good quotes and inspiring quotes, it's good. But I was in such a bad space, man. I would read the most beautiful motivational quote. You got to get up and go after it. And my immediate thought was, who the fuck are you? You don't know me. Who are you? You're probably sitting there because your dad's right. Like just these weird, hypothetical, based on no logic, like just F you. That was my attitude. My attitude was F you. I call it the F you attitude because you don't think, you just say F you to everything and everyone, including yourself. Everything pissed me off. I stayed off everything, TikTok, Instagram, my friends, right? Like just seeing them made me mad. And I knew it wasn't them, I knew it was me. So that's the good thing. I could call myself out and say, Daniel, man, it's you, dude, it's you. You're the same guy who looks at your friend's pictures and goes, man, I'm genuinely happy for him. But I was looking at him and I was just pointing out these things that just didn't make me feel good. I was like, Daniel, why are you thinking this stuff, man? That's your friend. Why are you saying these stuff, man? What's wrong with you? Why are you, what did he do? Where's this coming from? And 100% exercise was involved, right? It was one of the best things that you can do to alleviate stress alongside meditation and some other things is working out. Seriously, if you have stress in your life, the best thing you could do, whatever working out may mean for you, might be about going out for a run, elevating your heart rate, whatever it is, man, it's really, really, really good. So when I stopped exercising after many years, I've never in my life felt more stressed out, felt more aggressive, felt more mad. And get this, I was in such a fascinated area, right? Because it was all dominoes effect. So what happened was I stopped exercising. And guess what? I started staying up late to finish this homework. And every logical thinking person will tell you, like, hey man, you got a cap. At 9 p.m., at 10 p.m., whatever it is, your mind's not going to work as effectively anymore. After hour 4, 5, 6 of studying, man, it's not as smooth. You are better off going to sleep or not even going to sleep. At 9 p.m., like, man, I'm going to go play some Xbox. I'm going to go watch a movie. I want to watch some TV. Till 12 and then go to sleep, as opposed to staying up till 1 in the morning to work on studies or whatever, man. It's not consistent and it's not stable. You can't do it for a long period of time. And if you're in a position where you got like an essay due the next day, it's like, dude, F you. You put yourself in that position. You could have done it a week in advance. You did this to yourself. These are self-made problems and you got to take responsibility for them. So I'm staying up late. My sleep schedule is all over the place. I don't feel good when I wake up. That inevitably has to do with why I'm pissed off all the time. I'm angry. I don't feel good. I wake up with headaches. So there's a couple nights in a row where I have headaches every night. So I start taking Tylenol. And I take it once. And at first I don't, because I'm not a big meds guy. That's the bad thing. When you get into psych, you get really hesitant of taking meds. I'm a little extreme. My family was like, hey, start taking some headache, stuff. And I was like, all right. We start taking it, but it was worrying, man. I would take, one a night, and the next night another one, and the next night. 4 days in a row, I'm taking like headache, Tylenol. I'm like, this is weird, man. And you're going, well, Daniel, duh, you're not exercising, you're not sleeping well, duh. My friend, when you're in the darkness, it's so hard to see anything. Logic and common sense is out the window. All you see is red. And it's like, you should sleep better, but my God, everything in your body doesn't want to. And the guy who would, again, wake up at 6 a.m. and go for those runs, it was a fight to brush my teeth in the morning. It was a fight to just change my clothes. Like the thought of sleeping well. Like, why would I sleep well when I can just watch TV all night? I'll do whatever the hell I want. Right? So I'm not sleeping well. Guess what happens? There's a direct correlation, I shouldn't say correlation, but there's a relationship between your sleep and your eating. And what happens is when your circadian rhythm is messed up, all your circadian rhythm means it's your biological clock. It's when your brain, puts you to sleep, and then it's when you wake up. And generally, the best thing you want to do is you want to go to sleep at the same time and wake up at the same time, which I was not doing. So when you're not doing that, man, now your appetite's all effed up. Check this out. You wake up at noon. You don't feel that hungry. You're like, do I want to have breakfast? Do I want to have lunch? I don't really know. That leads you to either one, overeat, or not eat at all. Your appetite is all suppressed. Those hormones that are supposed to secrete, they're supposed to say, yes, you're hungry, they're not working as well. It hurts your metabolic rate. It actually leads you to gain weight. And guess which way your body image goes, right? The way that you look at your own body. So what was happening was, I stopped exercising, my stress would go up. I wasn't sleeping well. That would make me feel even worse. I would have headaches. I wasn't eating well because I either wasn't hungry or nothing looked appealing to me. Some days I would just forget to eat. Some days I would just eat all the time, but there's always chips. When you're fighting to get out of bed to brush your teeth, the last thing you're thinking about is making a salad. No, chips, give me chips, man. Chocolate, yeah, give me chocolate. I don't care. I do not care. I do not care. I couldn't care less. Literally, like I was at that point. So what? So what? That's where my mindset was at. F you. F this. Like that's the only thoughts that were going through my mind. So guess what? When you eat foods like that, how do you feel? You don't feel good, man. You feel like garbage. And when you feel like garbage, you don't feel like working out. I had this presentation that I did for one of my classes. That was literally, when I did that presentation, it was the best I had felt all month. It was about this actually, and that's where the presentation came from. If the kids from that class are listening to this, it was about food and sleep and exercise, and it was just really, folks, when I said the Big Mac is the gateway to Netflix and YouTube, what I mean is, when you eat foods that are heavy, just pay attention to how you feel. If you don't feel good, man, it's not good. No one's ever eaten, an avocado or drank a smoothie and been like, oh man, I'm super full, I feel disgusting. But I have felt like that after I ate a pizza or after I ate burgers and fries. You don't feel like working out. So that's what was happening. I would eat these foods that would make me feel sick and sluggish and tired, and I didn't want to do anything. That would further reinforce that behavior of like, dude, I'm not going out for a run. Like literally I thought to myself, if someone offered me $50 and said, Daniel, work out, I wouldn't do it. At one point, not even $100. I swear on my life. If you came up to me during that day, $100, go for a 10-minute run, I wouldn't have. I would not have. My mind was just so gone from that idea, man. And that's where it really fell apart. I stopped exercising. My stress levels went up. I stopped sleeping well. I stopped eating well. And it was sad, man. It was really sad. In my entire life, I've only known one way. I've only known one way to pursue life, and that's sprint. Right? Smell the roses, man, is not in my world. It's not in my dictionary. I was talking to my father actually yesterday. I was like, Dad, there's one thing that I seek that is greater than happiness, that is greater than money, that is greater than all else. And what I seek in life is peace. I'm such a, when I say this, I don't mean this to sound like an arrogant piece of garbage, but I swear to God, when I say my weakness is my work ethic, I swear to God, I'm the opposite of a procrastinator to the point where I'm working on something that's due a month from now. And I don't know how to take a break. And that is serving as my downfall, and did. For so many years, for the last 5-6 years, man. I shouldn't say 5-6 years, but consciously, I can at least say for the last 3-4 years, I just love working. I just love working. I can't stop working. I was in high school, man, and I had to do, I could not sit still. There was a point, I swear to God, there was a point. It was like Mondays were martial arts class, Tuesdays were work, Wednesdays guitar lessons, Thursdays I was off, Friday, martial arts class, Saturday I was back to work. I had Thursdays and Sundays off. Thursdays were to work on homework and stuff. Like I like being busy. I like being kept up and into things because I feel like I'm falling behind. And what had happened was, from a psychological aspect, I only know one way to go. And this was an idea that clinical psychologist Dr. Peterson said was, well, imagine you're an employee and you're an employer. So as an employer, you make yourself do things. You're like, all right, Daniel, I got to shoot this podcast today. I got to finish this assignment. I got to buy some groceries. I got to do some laundry. And then the employee says, well, what are you going to do for me? And that's the side of you. If you even want to look at Freud with respect to the id and the ego, on the side of, well, you have one side that really just wants pleasure. They just wants to eat chocolate all day. It just wants to eat Netflix all day. It wants to run up a mountain naked. I don't know why I thought of that. But, right, I believe that's the id, if I'm not mistaken them. And the ego is the Daniel, let's be rational. What are we supposed to do? What is the right thing to do, right? So they balance each other out. And what I've been doing for years was I was being a garbage employer. I was saying, all right, we're going to work on a podcast, then we're going to work on homework, they're going to, work out, then we're going to do this. And the employee in me was like, well, can I binge like Netflix every once in a while or Xbox? I was like, no, absolutely not. I was an employer who would not give his employees any breaks and wanted them to work overtime and didn't do anything fun. So guess what my inner employee did? He said, I'm not going to do anything for you anymore. There was a war in here. The person who was just a military, go forward, F how you feel, do what needs to be done. The employee who would carry out the task was just like, no, I'm done. I'm not going to work for you anymore. I'm not going to do anything. That's why a podcast didn't come out last week. That's why over the month of, I don't know, how many podcasts came out in November? I'm guessing it wasn't one every week. No way there could have been. He just given up. Like, no, I'm not going to get dressed. F you. I'm not going to have a salad. I'm going to binge Netflix all day. And that's what had happened. that employee had finally like revolted, or he, you know, he went on strike. He was like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to get out of bed. I'm not going to get dressed. I'm not going to take a shower. I'm literally just going to lie in bed and watch Netflix. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. That's the position I was in. That's what had happened. You know, and it was this really weird thing where you start to feel shame and guilt and embarrassment. And you're like, man, never in my life have I binged a Netflix show until 2-3 weeks ago. Excuse me, not even 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Never in my life have I been. I didn't believe in binging. Binging was a waste of time. If I was awake, I had to be working. God forbid, it's 11 p.m. on Saturday night and I'm playing Xbox. Because if I'm awake, that means I can work. If I'm not working, then I better be asleep. Like that, like it sounds crazy, right? But at the time, that was all I saw. I think it comes from, you know, my biggest fear in life, one of my biggest ones besides health reasons, are I worry about not being enough. You know, I worry about not being enough in all aspects of my career, as a son, as a brother, as a human being, as an employee, and that scares me. So it's good because, you know, you won't catch me slipping, but it's bad because I feel like I'm like the guard who's standing at the front gate, who will never fall asleep. Like he's like, oh man, I'm not gonna let anyone get in. But after 2 days of being awake, your body gives up on you. That's the only way I can say it. You know, my mind wanted to do things that my body simply couldn't keep up with. And I started hating myself for it. You know, so that was the warfare going on in my head. You know, at the same time, I was saying, Daniel, I'm so embarrassed that you're watching Netflix right now and not working. I'm so ashamed of you that you can't get one podcast out a week. How pathetic is that? Jesus Christ, man. You don't have 30 minutes? Sure, the editing takes another like 30 to put it and distribute it and put it out there, but Jesus, man, really? That's sad. And at the same time, the other voice was going, Daniel, why did you make us work so hard? Well, I know it sounds crazy like his voices, but no, I'm being serious though. Like, there's a little part of me that's like, Daniel, why? Who has a gun to your head and says you have to upload a podcast? You don't have to, man. You do this for fun. You do this for yourself. That's why we started this. You know, you work out because you want to work out, not because you have to. You don't have to work in assignments until 1 in the morning. Who says? Why, man? Why do you do this to yourself? It's not fun anymore. I don't enjoy this anymore. That's the mindset I was in. So I really just took a step back and I said, all right, I have to cater to that other side of me that says, no, man, you know what? F it. I just want to play Xbox. Just leave me be, man. I just want to binge Peaky Blinders and Vikings. And I don't want to do any work. You know, so what ended up happening was for a couple of days, that's what happened. I didn't do anything. And I was literally, man, that last few weeks of the term ending, I just bit my lip. I was like, Daniel, let's just bite our lip. Let's just go through it, keep our head down. And to any classmates who I worked with on projects and such, hopefully it came off well. But I was just thinking, Daniel, do not open your mouth. Do not say something you're going to regret. Just put a smile on your face, nod your head, do what needs to be done, and shut up. Get through it, and then we'll chill. And when school ended, or even the week of, man, I just didn't do anything. I really didn't do anything. I barely changed clothes, just watched Netflix. I lied around, you know, ate whatever I wanted to, like nothing, like absolutely nothing. And in my head, I was like, all right, you know what? We got to counterbalance this. For this many years, we've been pushing ourselves. Now, we got to let ourselves relax. So now I'm at a stage where I just got past the whole relaxing thing, where I took a couple of days and I didn't do anything. So I said, all right, now we're going to get back into the swing of things, right? I want to come back. I want to be me again. I want to feel good again, man. I want to feel positive again. Guys, it's so draining being negative. I can't tell you. You know, when you're in a mental state, it is so easy to be negative, and it's very hard to be positive. You know, man, during that time, you would have come up to me, well, Daniel, on the bright side, I'm going to punch you on your mouth. On the bright side. Like that thought doesn't even register, man. So please, if you're ever talking to someone and they're not all there mentally, just be aware of how accepting they are to positive. Sometimes, man, there is no positive. And that's okay. Sometimes you just got to go through the negative, and when time comes, it's good. Anyways, so this is what happened, right? I'm chill now. I'm not doing anything. And I think to myself, I'm like, all right, I got to get it together. My room was a mess. This workstation was a complete mess. Like if you saw it, it was a perfect representation for what I was in here, right? The lamps were falling over and they were Keyboard was all over the place, tissues here, man, chips there. Like, it was a mess. It was a slob, and I hated it. And I said, all right, Daniel, we got to start fixing things up, man. Two things. I got to fix myself internally and externally. If I can fix the place around me, I think that it's a huge metaphor for why I'm doing it here. If you ever come to my place and my room is clean, just know I'm good up here. Right? Because how can you expect to change the world if you can't clean your own damn room? Right? Before you want to start criticizing other people's houses, fix your own fucking house and then move forward. So I said, okay, I want to get back into the swing of things. The worst thing I can do is say, all right, you know what? I'm just going to relax, eat chips, and get fat for the next 10 years. That's the worst thing I could have done. The other worst thing I could have done on the other spectrum was not learn anything from this lesson and go, all right, I'm going to go back to working up at 6 a.m. I'm going to start working out every day. I'm going to fall right back into what happened before. I said, all right, I got to take it step by step. What I did know was this. When I worked out, I felt good. When I exercised, my self-esteem was up. My stress was extremely low. I felt positive. I felt good. I said, all right, I got to exercise. Why didn't I want to exercise? I don't want to exercise because I wasn't eating well. I said, all right, what if I eat well? If I eat salads, if I have smoothies, if I have avocados, I'm more likely to work out. Perfect. What can I do to make sure that I eat well? I said, I got to sleep well. I got to make sure I go to sleep at the same time and I wake up at the same time. I've got a system in place. One of the amazing things that, I shouldn't say amazing, but it might be interesting for you. If you go to therapy or counseling, they'll say, hey, do you have a job? Because if you have a job, it's very likely that there's a certain point that you're waking up and there's a certain point that you're going to bed. And that's actually amazing. You know, just with respect to mental health, if you have a regular 9 to 5, it's good because in theory you have a time when you're waking up because you've calculated how long it takes you to get to work, and there's a time you're going to sleep so you can wake up the next day. So it's good for the structure wise. But I made sure not to be too extreme when I said, all right, Daniel, you're going to wake up, you know, let's say, even though you don't have classes, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. is good. It's not 6 a.m., but it's not 11 a.m. So it's an improvement. I said, Daniel, you're going to wake up 9 a.m., you know, you're going to go after things. And on the weekends, do whatever you want. That's me, again, not being extreme, because my extremeness at 9 a.m. every day, you know, ride or die. Like, I was like, no, we're not going to do that again. I played that card. It didn't go well for me. So I said, you know what, man, on the weekend, go for it. Be up late till 2, whatever you want. Have chips, have fun. But Monday through Friday, we're going to keep a structure, right? I said, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's happening. If you sleep better, you eat better. If you eat better, you move better. When you move better, you perform better. When you perform better, everything gets better, right? Because they're all connected, man. And that's the biggest thing that I want you to get from this episode, you know, was two things. You know, was one, how can a person with such love and kindness and motivation turn into such a, like, you know, such an unpeople person? Like, when I tell you I didn't want to see people, I didn't want to talk to people. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, I almost can't believe the words that are coming out of my mouth, but that was me for a long period of time. I only wish I, like, vlogged about it, like, at least a little bit, but I was not in the mood to be on camera. I only wish I did, just so I can look back at it. You should have seen me, man. I was scary. The beard had grown out. The hair was all over the place. Right, so check this out. You do these 3 things, and I swear to you, these are the foundations for a good life. Now, these are the foundations in a huge thing, right? With your mental state, with respect to depression, anxiety, all that good stuff. And these 3 things are really, really good. Why? Because they're in your hands, man. They're in your control. Other things you can't control, right? Genetic factors you can't control. You know, family and how you were treated when you were young, you can't control. But what is in your control right now? So, folks, first thing I want to say is sleep. My friends, I made a terrible mistake, and I turned my back on the things that really brought me joy to the world and helped me function effectively. Because when I wasn't sleeping well, I wasn't eating well, I wasn't exercising well, I didn't feel well, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible, and I did not enjoy it. In order to not make the same mistakes I did, I want you to start sleeping well. This is what I want you to do. The perfect way to fix your sleep cycle is going, all right, Daniel says I should sleep well. I know I should sleep well. I've been, you know, staying up till 2 in the morning every night. Because of Daniel, I'm going to go to bed at 8:30 p.m. That's a bad idea. I'm going to tell you why. If your system, if your body's used to going to bed at 2 a.m., it's not going to make sense for you to go at 8 a.m. I'll tell you why. There's a hormone known as melatonin. And all you got to know is this. When you get tired, or excuse me, at a certain point, your brain starts secreting this hormone, melatonin. When that melatonin starts to get released throughout your body, you start to feel tired. Your eyes want to close. You start yawning. You get sleepy. What you've done to yourself is you put yourself in a position where you're not going to get sleepy until 2. So you can go lie in bed at 8:30, but melatonin is not going to get released until many hours later. So that's problematic. What I instead want you to do is stay up however late you want. Stay up till 1, stay up till 2, hell, stay up till 3. But wake up tomorrow the next day early. whatever time that is, maybe it's 8 a.m. Tell yourself, you know what? I don't care when I go to sleep tonight, no matter what happens, I'm gonna wake up early. Guess what happens? The next day you wake up at 8 a.m., you feel terrible, you feel garbage. Why? Because the night before you were up till 3 in the morning. This is what you gotta do. Don't take a nap. Get out of bed as fast as possible. Do not take a nap. What you wanna do is you wanna carry that tiredness with you, and that will trigger you to fall asleep earlier the next day. You're with me? You stay up one day until 2 or 3, but you wake up early. So now when you wake up, you're still tired. You don't go to sleep, but you force yourself to stay awake. So then when that day, now when it's 10 p.m., you're really tired. You go to bed. Again, you wake up at 8. Now there's something, folks, in psychology is called sleep debt. Sometimes you have people who, they will, sleep for like 4 hours, but the next day they're fine. They're like, I feel great. But a couple hours later, or even a day later, then it hits you. Folks, bad sleep adds up. Sleep debt. Google it. It's a serious thing. So don't expect it to be fixed in one day, but genuinely 2 to 3 days, man, and you're on a good course. So that's what I would recommend. So now we're talking about, well, Daniel, how do I fall asleep? I have trouble falling asleep. How do I fall asleep fast? Here's a couple of tips. One thing you can do, man, is exercise during the day. When you exercise during the day and you go lie down on your bed, when your muscles are tired, it's easier for you to fall asleep. Tip number 1. Tip number 2, make sure the room is a little bit cooler. Like if it was like square in the middle, and there's warm and there's cold, make sure it's a tiny bit colder. If it's a little bit colder, you're gonna fall asleep easier. Step number 3, make sure all the lights are off. Once again, shouts out to that melatonin production, that hormone. When lights are on, your brain doesn't secrete the hormone because your brain can't tell the difference between artificial man-made light and the light from the sun. So what happens is when you have these lights on, your brain does not secrete that hormone because it thinks, oh, it's the middle of the day. Purely evolutionary biology. I gotta go out, I gotta hunt. And then when you turn all the lights off, your brain starts to secrete this hormone, saying, oh, again, evolutionary basis being, oh, well, it's night out, I can't see that well, I'm more likely to be eaten by a tiger, it's time to go to sleep. So at night, it's serious, keep all the lights off. This also includes, be careful playing video games at night or watching movies at night or, being on your phone. Now, a lot of phones, mine's a pretty old one. It's a Samsung Galaxy S8, but it has a blue light filter. Blue light is one of those things that also suppresses that melatonin production, and it makes it harder for you to fall asleep. So if you can, put on that filter. There's things out there, I believe they're called blue light filter goggles, I want to say. You put those bad boys on, and it filters all blue light, which is amazing. If you're someone who, let's say does computer science, you're watching YouTube all night, and you don't want that to mess with your eyes. So that's a big one. The eye strain keeps you awake. Also, stimulation. You want to stay away from that. So don't work out right before going to bed. Because what happens is, you don't want to elevate your heart rate and be super tense and cool, and then you lie down and it's super hard to fall asleep. I don't know what, tip number this is at, but do that. At night, read a book if you can. And I don't just mean ebook, it's all right, but if you can, read like a physical book. The good thing of that is when you're looking at it, your eyes will literally get tired, which will make you want to close them and it'll make you want to fall asleep. And finally, folks, remember your bed, if you can, your bed should only be for sleeping if you can. And I get it, right? Sometimes you have a TV there, right? You want to play Xbox lying in bed, that's cool. But what happens is, especially at night, if you can do this for yourself, you'll be so better off. You want to build this neural connection in your brain that says, hey, every time I touch that soft cushion or I sit down on my bed, I want my brain to know, oh, I'm about to go to sleep. And when your brain likes patterns, give it to it, make it easy for it. If you tell yourself, every time I get on my bed, that means it's sleeping time, you'll fall asleep faster. So if you can, watch YouTube and don't watch it in your bed. Sit down, on a chair and watch it. Go to another room and watch it. Go watch TV somewhere else and watch it. Now again, you're with your family, man, you're having fun, it's movie night. Please don't say, no, Daniel said I can't watch movies in bed. I can't. No, don't do that, man. But seriously, if you're talking about school and you want to monitor a good sleeping schedule, do that. Make sure the room is a little bit cool. Make sure you don't exercise right before sleep. Exercise during the day. Read a book. Keep the lights off. And like for example, like don't bring lunch back on your bed and just start eating a snack on your bed if you can. And I guarantee you, my friends, you'll sleep better. So you've slept better. You've woken up now you feel good. You're like, man, that was awesome. I got my 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep or whatever. Now you get hungry. Here's the good thing, my friends. I would say like there's a huge correlation between eating and things like depression. And the reason is this, right? It's not, oh man, I ate a double cheeseburger and now I'm depressed. It's, the things that you eat, the worse you eat, the worse you feel, right? The worse you feel, the less amazing things you're going to accomplish. Those all impact your self-esteem. Those all impact your body image, the way that you look at yourself, and the way that you talk to yourself in here. And what happens is when you sleep well, your appetite is, I don't want to say appropriate, but it's correct. You get hungry at a healthy time. And that's not saying, people are different. Some people get hungry as soon as they wake up. Some people get hungry, 30 minutes, an hour later. What matters is you get hungry and you're more likely to eat food at the right time. You're less likely to binge. You're less likely to just not want to eat at all. So sleeping well actually has a huge impact on eating, on how you eat and when you feel like eating. And with eating, my friends, I'm by no means a health expert or nutrition expert or whatever, but what I can tell you is this. There's 3 things you want to remember. Let it be these things: carbs, fats, and proteins. Just be aware. Just be aware of what you're eating and how you feel afterwards. If you have food and you still feel hungry, that's telling you something. For example, I had cereal the other day. It was fine. But then I thought to myself, man, my stomach feels weird. Not because I'm full, but just it was really sugary and I didn't have any fat. Now, when you hear fat, people always think of bacon grease. Brother, fat can mean like olive oil fat. Fat can mean from avocado, Like fat can mean from fish. So what I'm saying is some things are really, really important, and notice what you want. Sugar is absolutely amazing for you. It depends. Are we talking artificial or man-made, right? A chocolate bar is not amazing for you, but an apple is. So once you start to be more aware of, I'm a little tired. Let me go grab an apple as opposed to a banana. Why? Because an apple has natural sugar. I'll feel more energized. You know what? I feel a little bit more hungry. Should I have an apple or a banana? If you feel more hungry, maybe go with the banana. Why? The apple is a little bit more acidic. If you haven't eaten anything, it might not feel amazing. Whereas the banana is, I don't know what the components are exactly, but it makes you feel more full as opposed to an apple. Right? So when you become conscious of things, you can wake up in the morning and go, all right, you don't have to be a crazy, go out and grab crazy vegetables, but literally sit there and go, all right, well, what if I have egg? That'll cover the proteins to build muscle, and bread, because I like having bread, and if you can, darker is awesome because you have those seeds and they're amazing for, fiber, which is great for your digestive system or whatnot. You're like, all right, so I have bread and egg and, maybe we smack some mayo on there. Why? Because it tastes good, and that's important, because if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to continue it. That's why all those health plans freaking suck. It's because if you don't like it, you're not going to continue it. Working out is the same. Just because I love swimming doesn't mean you should swim. You should do whatever you enjoy doing, man. You might hate swimming. If you had to do swimming, you might never work out. But you might love, I don't know, man, salsa dancing, and you might break a sweat. And if that's your thing, man, you go salsa dance until the cows go home. Go home, come home, whichever way they're going. I don't know, whatever those cows are doing, but you know what I mean. So just be conscious. Be conscious of what you're eating, right? It's a big world out there, but just let yourself know this. How do I feel after the food I eat? And just, man, go Google, healthy fats, what are they? Good carbs, what are they? Easy protein. What is it? It doesn't have to be this crazy exotic thing. Like, oh, no way. What do you mean broccoli has protein? Like, it's so easy, man. Like, once you get into it. So now you start eating good. You start feeling good. Guess what? You just had a smoothie. You just had avocado, man. You feel good. You feel hyped up. You feel energetic. Now what are you going to go do? Now you take that same energy and now you feel like working out. You feel like going out on that run. You feel like exercising. My friends, the amount of benefits that exercise has, I cannot speak it on enough. Your legs, it just depends on what you're doing, right? But generally it's a muscle group. It's your heart. It's your lungs if it's something cardio related. It's the only thing, like when people think about IQ, right? They're like, is there any way to increase IQ? There isn't. I'll be honest with you. All those like BS abs, if you take that person out of that, it doesn't actually show any added like smartness in a different situation. Like just because you do good on those like IQ apps doesn't actually mean anything out of the context of that app. But the one thing that we have found that I wouldn't say increases IQ, but that slows the decline of IQ and that prevents and further delays the onset of neurocognitive disorders, meaning things like Alzheimer's, meaning things like dementia. Basically, brain neurons dying and brain cells dying is exercise. When you exercise, the chances of you getting Alzheimer's or dementia is it's like unbelievably less. Like it's amazing, like how strong it is towards it. And even if you were to get it, man, it extends your lifeline by a lot. For example, something along these lines, don't quote me on this, but it might be someone with Alzheimer's might have 1 to 3 years, but someone who works out regularly might have 5 to 8 years to live, So unbelievable, man. You exercise, stress goes down. Stress goes down, you feel good. You look in the mirror, Self-esteem goes up. You like what you see. Body image goes up. You feel good. Man, you feel good. You slept well. You ate well. You move well. You feel well. Now you want to go do well, man. And now you can go and perform at every aspect of your life. You can go be a better student. Go be a better employee. Go be a better boyfriend or girlfriend or father or mother or whatever. Whatever you have, you can be better at it because you're in an optimal state. I always thought to myself, with respect to school, I was like, man, how can I do better at school? Like, how can I ask more questions? How can I study more? And the trick is this. I'm not in an optimal state. Like, when I arrive, I might be at 70% and I do okay. But what if I was at 100%? What if I was sleeping well, eating well, exercising, in a good mood, I'm sharp as ever, I'm focused, I'm good, and me telling myself, you know what, man, today I'm gonna work till 6 p.m. and then afterwards, it's Netflix and YouTube City, baby. I could work till 12. I could work till 4 in the morning. I know I can. I've done it for years. But I'm not going to, because at a certain point, for me, and please take this advice with caution, depends on who you are. For me, stepping away is harder than doing it. At first, it was a discipline thing. Oh, you're a wuss, you're quitting, you're giving up. Now it's like, no. I know that I can, but I'm going to choose not to, because I've been doing this strategy for a couple of years. It hasn't worked for me. It didn't work. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again, expecting different results. So I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to work till 6, 7, maybe 8 p.m. After that, man, I'm done. I don't care if I haven't finished the assignment. I don't care if I don't feel confident. That's me time. From 8 till 11 or 8 till 12, I'm going to watch Netflix, play Xbox, go out for a walk, whatever. That is me time. And when I do that, there's an extra time crunch. I have something to look forward to. If you tell me, yo, Daniel, you got this assignment, and I'm thinking, oh, sweet, I can take till 3 a.m., I'm going to take till 3 a.m. But if you tell me, hey, man, you got this assignment due, you got till 6, and you got to start working on it at 6, now I'm super focused because I don't have the whole time to do it, right? I don't have till 2 in the morning, so I'm going harder than I would have gone before. Oh, man. That's where I'm at right now. Just started sleeping better. I feel good. My sleep feels better. I'm going to start waking up at 9 a.m. regularly. I'm eating better. I'm more conscious, man, of what I eat in the mornings. I'm eating more salads. And the last thing that's left is exercise. I feel good. For the first time in over a month, I feel in a good condition to exercise. You know, I have that energy again. And please don't listen to this being like, oh, if I'm not in the mood, I'm just going to wait till I feel like it. Please don't do that, because if I was to do that, I wouldn't be exercising for the next 5 years. Folks, I don't think there's ever been a time when I've actually felt like exercising. I know I just contradicted myself. Excuse me, but what I mean by that is I don't like exercising. You get sweaty, it hurts, your muscles hurt, you go out there, it's cold, it's raining. I don't enjoy it. But I enjoy the feeling of it. I enjoy how uncomfortable I feel. I like my muscles hurting. You begin to like it. You begin to just talk, yeah, good, I want my muscles to hurt. Good, I want myself to start heavy breathing. You start liking that stuff, and you just fall so in love with that feeling that never in my life have I ever exercised and said, man, that was a waste of time. Or I wish I didn't do that. Always when I exercise, like, man, I feel 10,000 times better. I can't believe I almost skipped that workout. But for whatever reason, the following week, I'm again debating with myself. Do I really want to work out? It's so comfortable to be at home. Comfort is dangerous, my friends. Comfort is dangerous sometimes, but it's good. Both are dangerous. I think working out like an animal is dangerous. And I think always sitting around watching Netflix and YouTube is dangerous. But for me, what I need to do is I need to sit around a little bit. Seriously, I need to sit around, watch Netflix, watch YouTube. That's what I need to do. And you might laugh because you might need the opposite. You might have been sitting and watching YouTube. Oh, you got to get outside. But what I need to do is I need to watch Netflix, watch YouTube. I'm eating better. I'm sleeping better. I'm in a better condition. And I'm going to slowly start integrating exercise back into my life. And it's not going to be working out 5 hours in a day to try to make up for it, because that's what past Daniel would do. No. But I'm going to think of a consistent plan that I can follow. Not just for this week, not just for this month, but for the next 2 or 3 years. What schedule can I stick to? When I have all my exams, when maybe I'm not feeling well, that I could do in that moment that I can do now when I'm free and I don't have any homework. That's what it comes down to. I talked a lot. I'm curious about what stood out to you. Was it the Daniel teachers had turned to the F you attitude? Was it the importance of, some of the tips I gave for sleep, some of the tips I gave for exercise, eating. Man, you do those 3 things, man, you're good. You're in a good state to excel in any area of your life. And I sincerely believe that. When I tell you this was one of the hardest months in the last couple of years, like for me, just mentally, it's almost, I don't want to say comical, but to think that I did it to myself is very strange. It's very strange. And looking back at it, I know what to do. And I even knew what to do then. It was just the thought of bright side or anything positive was just non-existent. Like, I didn't even want to leave my home, man. I hadn't left my home in weeks. Like, it was bad, dude. It was bad. And I think it was a really good wake-up call, because sometimes you think you're safe, but you're not safe. You're one step away from stupidity. You're one step away from making a mistake. And I think you have to keep yourself in line. I thought I was good, man. I thought I was good. I'm happy, smiling, life is good. I made one mistake. And everything just fell apart. And getting back into it, man, was tough. It's not change. Change is not tough. It's the willingness to change that's tough. It's pushing yourself through it. It's having this argument with yourself. Like, no, man, you will feel better. You got to get out that door. You got to start exercising. And all this hate, Jesus Christ. Brother, wow. This isn't right. This isn't good. Hate is not good. It brings up your stress levels. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for your body. It's bad for your mind. So if I can give you one more thing, my friends, I would say, please take it from someone who believes in working hard. Find peace in your life, my friends. Find peace. It's super easy for me to come out here and say, hey, do moderation. But for me, having to execute it on my own is a whole nother story. So please, find peace. Do whatever that is, negotiate. How do you treat yourself, man? If you work yourself like a dog, just be like, yo, why? How does that make you feel? And if you feel like you don't work yourself enough and you have potential to be greater, think about that. Well, why don't you? Aren't you curious to see how much better you could be? And all the greater things you could do because of it? Awareness, ladies and gentlemen, awareness. I think this was a good time for me to be in a dark place. Usually I'm not in the dark hole. I'm above, I'm looking down, or I've read about it. But for me to be in there, like literally in there, and I could tell you, man, I could read the most amazing motivational quote, going out there and exercising. I did not want to hear it. It made me mad, if anything. I was like, F you, man. I don't want to hear this right now. It took time. And I was in there, man, I was just slight. Like, I was barely in a dark tunnel, in a dark place. So I have the slightest idea now, personally, not sympathy, but empathy, of what someone who really spirals down. People know me, I rarely drink, I don't do drugs. Now imagine I did that too on top of that. Imagine I didn't have the people around me that I did. It could have been much worse. And I'm worried that if you are in those positions, my friends, stay close to exercise, stay close to sleeping, stay close to eating, keep good people around you, relationships, stay away from alcohol, stay away from drugs. And I promise you, you will be less susceptible to the stressors of life. You will be less likely to become depressed, less likely to develop other mental health, psychological problems. If you are in a stronger place mentally, it doesn't matter what comes at you in life, but the fact of the matter is you're not as vulnerable to them. This was tough, this podcast today. This was tough. I was really 50-50 on even doing it today, because I'm still trying to get back into the mood of it. But we did it. I did it. You heard it. If you enjoyed, great. If not, suck that you had to listen through all that. Oh, man. My friends, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And as always, if you ever need anything, feel free to shoot out a DM and talk to me. I'm always happy to hear about where your mindset is at nowadays. Take care, everybody. Have yourselves a good morning, good day, or good night.